Alright, so we reset to this 3-inch cleanout that's been extended out from this guest house drain line just outside, right by our gas meter. This is just behind our driveway gate from the sub-area entrance here. Now you'll see here the main drain line coming from the guest house kind of runs along underneath the house. And then just forward of the gas meter, a little hard to see 90s, and goes across to connect up to the main building drain across there. Now you can see here that it looks like the line is a little bit going uphill, and as we get in here we do have a short section that's holding some water. See here as we come around this turn, as soon as we drop into that pipe we're seeing some standing water. So the guest house line is not sloped all the way to where it connects up to the building drains, holding maybe as much as an inch of water here. So this is not really sloped properly. And it's not a surprise because your guest house structure is on the grade level of the property, whereas the main house is raised up a few feet. So oftentimes connecting those two structures up like that is not possible. 3/4 of an inch to an inch of water is a bit excessive, but due to the plastic pipe's nature to wash out debris, it may not, under normal usage, cause any blockages or anything like that. So it's something you would want to really keep an eye on. I don't really see an easy way to change it, and installing an ejection system for that guest house would be quite costly in a situation where it may not really be a problem so much. Alright, so we're coming up on our left turn. That's going to drop us into the 4-inch main building drain here under the main house, and as soon as we make this turn, all of the newer plastic piping under the house connects back up to an original cast iron pipe that runs out underneath the front porch into the front yard, where it's going to change into the vitrified clay main sewer pipe. Now these cast iron pipe materials from this era typically were expected to last somewhere around 70 to 80 years, and seeing as most of the piping underneath the building, most or all from what I've seen, has been upgraded, changed out, it's very likely that cast iron was found to be failing. And as we push forward here a bit, you're going to start seeing roots actually penetrating the walls of the pipe as we get closer to the front planter. So these are all indications that that section of cast iron pipe has failed and is ready to be upgraded. So basically we're talking about from just under the structure, near the front foundation wall, just out into the front yard where the clay pipe starts. That's kind of the hard section to get to. There may be a couple different options as far as upgrades, rehabilitation, pipe bursting, certain things that could be done. I would suggest consulting a reputable plumbing contractor to determine what method might be appropriate. What you see here as we come through, we're just seeing quite a bit of root intrusion here through that last section of the cast iron. I've gone ahead and put a red marker flag out in the front planter area where this cast iron meets up with the clay so that it can be easily identified. It's only a couple feet deep there, so it should be fairly easy to get to. Alright, so we're into our clay pipe now, and we're seeing some pretty good sized roots here, somewhat significant root intrusion. This is a pretty common situation when they're isolated to the joint areas or where these pipe sections connect. In the older clay pipes, it's considered a maintenance issue. Normally, we are suggesting that the roots can be maintained regular cleanings, but when they're left unmaintained for extended periods, they can create blockages in the system, and they can also damage a pipe. But really, the majority of it we're seeing is up close to the structure. As we get out into the front yard, seeing much less. Generally, the pipe is draining satisfactorily because of the slope of the front yard. The pipe has a pretty good slope. Wouldn't expect to see any standing water in any areas. As we drop down here, close to the front of the yard, about the sidewalk area, we're changing from the 4-inch vitrified clay to a 6-inch concrete piping. Now, the concrete pipes were commonly used here in this area, and other areas of Los Angeles, prior to 1965. And they stopped using the concrete piping because they figured it was more inferior than the clay pipes. What tends to occur is the concrete actually washes out, and the aggregate or small rocks, like you're seeing here in the concrete mixture, become exposed. The pipe was more brittle, things of that nature. So the City of LA is now requiring rehabilitation of these concrete lateral pipes for the property at the property owner's expense during certain types of permit-related construction. So the possibility that may be a requirement. Now, our purpose today is not to come here and say rehabilitate it. Our purpose is to see how it's functioning. And so far it looks pretty typical. I would say common deterioration in the pipe for its age, minor roots to the joints, which is very similar to the clay piping. And then as we come up on our public sewer here, a little bit of separation where these pipe sections meet. It doesn't look like damage. And then about 48 feet looking down into the public sewer. So at this point, the underground main sewer pipe outside the structure here through the front yard is in generally satisfactory condition and exhibiting what we consider common conditions. Most of the drain piping for the structures has been upgraded to modern plastics. The guest house line, before it ties into the primary line of the main house, is traveling back uphill slightly, so it's not draining out completely. But the main issue here is that the original cast iron piping left in service here from just under the house, under the porch, out into the front yard, is at the end of its useful service life and should be considered for upgrade. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video portion of my examination. I will be issuing a written report which will describe the final findings and recommendations for today's examination, including maintenance recommendations. Now, we do recommend that main sewer line should be examined after any significant seismic activity, and that main sewer line should be examined annually to monitor for changing conditions in the system. This is Mark Harrison with Sewer Line Check Professionals. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.